So I was reading a particular document this was in 2010, where you and several others were lobbying since then for more respect for vocational teachers and for the vocation on a whole in terms of technical expertise and so forth. We are now in 2020, 10 years later. Are you concerned now, I'm saying this on the backdrop that we have vocational studies now in various institutions, but not how it was before. That foundation is not there anymore. Are you concerned now, given what's happening with COVID-19, that we may have to revisit critically vocational training in the same, how should I say, on the same level playing field as all other areas of academia?
Yes, technical vocational education and training is something that should be always on the agenda. In any country, that should always be there. We cannot rub that off at all. I would think somewhere around the 1960s or 1950s, Eric Williams, our first Prime Minister, he started this TechVoc education, where we had the San Fernando Technical Institute and Port of Spain, the John Donaldson Technical Institute. Coming out of that, we had a lot of people in the country being able to develop themselves to be skillful technicians and craftsmen. Over the years, that has dwindled a bit. We tried to make some change into something called technology education. And technology education, we moved away from specializing in these specialized areas like, let's say, welding, auto mechanics, tailoring, and so on. And we went into something general. Of course, with the advent of computer, they changed it and called it technology education. Students had lost a bit of interest over the years. It was difficult to kind of keep them into the classroom when we made that shift. However, I think that is something we should revisit a lot. I should also add that over time we had a lot more programs coming on stream. We had like YTEP, the NASC, MIC, and other institutions trying to, let's say, fill a void. In the earlier days, we had apprenticeship. So, for example, when I was unsuccessful, like many other young people at the age of 12, did not succeed with the common entrance, instead of going to a secondary school, the choice was stay home or go and learn a trade, which we used to refer to at that time.
Right.
Fortunately for me, I got in an apprenticeship with County Limited at that time, right? And I was able to, my apprenticeship period, I was allowed to learn auto mechanics, auto and diesel mechanics, and many other areas were taught. People were exposed to welding, for example, right? All these specialized areas, people, pan boiling, we had in County Limited in those days. So people became, first-class pan boilers.
Right.
We had even in Catelli, we had mechanics there, and I remember dealing with apprentices from Catelli. We had Shell, the apprenticeship system in Shell. So throughout the country, we had these companies running apprenticeship programs. So we took the young boys, what they did, they took the young boys and girls, if they were available, 15 years old, 16 years old, took them into a 5-year apprenticeship program. And, of course, send them to technical school in the evening. So you work all day, and in the evening you were sent to the technical school to learn the theory of the work that you were doing, the particular skill area. So we had that, and then later on, that was no more. That went out the door. right? You would recall that later on we built the senior comprehensive schools, and a lot more students, a lot more persons were able to attend the senior comprehensive schools, and we were able to produce a lot more people in the specialized areas. So if you go to some of the senior comprehensive schools now, which is the name has changed,
right,
you would see the different departments, welding department, machine shop, electrical, plumbing. You see all these departments, and they were well funded.
Let me ask a question, Mr. Payne, and I'm listening to the timeline that you're giving us from 1960 onwards.
Yes.
And it's a timeline where, of course, there was a gradual progression. Now, as I would have been saying time and time again, when it comes to time, it's very fluid, very liquid, so you're going to find things changing. Would you say that the marriage between trade and technology has not been one that has been even? You know, when they said about marriage, you know, you have to, you know, you go through a period of counseling to make sure both parties are on the same page, et cetera, et cetera. So would you say with this marriage between trade and technology has not, quote unquote, filled the void that you expected? Because you mentioned NESC, MIC, which again, great institutions, but somehow, as you rightly said, we're not seeing a lot of young people based on looking at the market. There still seems to be a gap somewhere. Can you say why that is in your
Well,
words?
first of all, when we talk about technical education generally, we are looking at a stigma that was attached to. You're not too bright. I mean, as they used to say a long time, go and learn a trade.
Right. Oh, okay.
So because you're not so bright, then go and learn a trade. So what that says is that most tradesmen, they are not so bright. So the bright people would be the people who went on to do the mathematics, English,
the academia side of things,
general grammar subjects.
Yeah.
And the non-so-bright people would have gone on to do the technical areas. However, that has changed. And since that has changed, what we needed to do is to prepare the teachers, the people who deliver in these programs, to go to a higher level, to step up. For example, I would tell you that to work as a technical teacher, initially, you needed to pass the national exams in your particular area, welding, plumbing, what have you. And then from there, you must have worked as a A-class tradesman in any particular company doing the same thing for at least 2 years. Once that is done and you have that experience with the qualifications and so on, you get to teach. But my argument was always, they have degrees in all the other subject areas. If you are to teach in a secondary school, you require a degree. For example, if one is to teach mathematics, what is the qualifications required? Most people we understand is a degree. You have a degree in mathematics, so yes, you get to teach in the secondary school. If you are to teach auto mechanics or welding in a secondary school, a degree is not really asked for.
So basically, the system is not challenging the area of trade enough to compete on the same level with other areas. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, yes, but the system, and I don't want to put too much blame on the system,
nothing.
but we should have designed something where a person after technical school can go on in that specialized area.
Right, I understand.
Like, for example, when I was finished with the auto mechanics, what they say, if you want to go further, stop what you're doing and go and do a degree in education or do a degree in something else.
Right. So there's a breaking, there's a disconnection one time. Yeah, they're not right.
What I'm saying is that people should not leave the area. If you started mathematics in Form 1 and you love that subject area, you could go right up to a PhD in mathematics. and then you are looked on, or you're looked upon as somebody that is really very good. Your status now would change. We could have done the same thing with welding, plumbing, auto mechanics, dressmaking, what have you. There are schools in England, in America, Australia, that I've looked at that offer degree programs in all these areas. And when we give scholarships, that I've been advocating for as well, when we give scholarships, we should try to give scholarships to people who would want to qualify themselves in these areas. So we will have a higher level of individuals coming out to teach. We have UTT. If somebody wants to do automotive engineering, can we go to UTT to do that?
I understand.
No.
And I think I think it's very clear what you're saying, that the same value that we place on other subject areas, the same should be done for the trade areas as well. Because we are in a very competitive world.
The technical areas.
Technical area. So because we are in a very competitive world as it is, and I do agree with what you're saying. But as we kind of wrap things up this afternoon, what are your suggestions moving forward post COVID-19? I say post COVID-19 because again, this is the window of opportunity for these discussions moving forward in terms of, I know this is a battle you've been in for quite some time, but what are your suggestions? We were speaking now, we were in present tense, so we have probably fresh ears, eyes, and so forth, viewing and listening. So what would you suggest moving forward, at least to resume the discussion and hopefully, of course, create a new foundation for what you're trying to achieve or have been trying to achieve?
All right, I would say it because I've been saying it over the years, but since I do not have people in the areas that would see it and probably support it, people just don't understand and don't buy into it. If we want to develop the area, first of all, and I was saying at some years back, give me $15 million. I will try to pick out from the teaching fraternity some of our best teachers who would have probably developed themselves as well and send them to do a degree in that specialized area. So you want people in automotive engineering? I would send somebody to do automotive engineering. A 4-year degree, go and do it. And that scholarship is just like any other scholarship. You go, you do the work, you come back, we put you in a university, or we have you in the school system. And then that one person, just looking at that one person, and we could be talking in terms of COVID now, that one person come back and will be able to teach a class of 30.
Right.
You develop 30 people getting their degrees, and then look at the amount of people. Each one of those 30, not even 30, 10 of them come out, and they would be able to teach a further 30 each. And that is where we would go with the development of technical education and training. But if we do nothing now, and next 5 years we do nothing, and we continue to do nothing, we'll come back when I rise from the grave and say, we are still the same way. We have not progressed. But we need to put down our feet and do something now in terms of developing, giving people to develop in these specialized areas. I looked last year and over the years at the people who get scholarship, and I had made the suggestion. Okay, you want to take the people who do their maths and their science and so on and give them scholarships to do engineering? Pick out some of the areas that we want. Mechanical engineering, fine, we have a lot of them. But the specialized areas, automotive, welding engineering, there are universities that would accept these people. At the end of the day, when you do that program, you must reach a certain level in terms of your proficiency, your skills, and before you could get your degree. So you will have somebody coming back here that is good practically and good theoretically. A good automotive engineer or welding engineer to come on and teach the rest of your nation. But somehow people don't see that. So we just remain there.
Well, Mr. Payne, I'm hoping that we don't just remain there. I'm hoping that, as I said, with time, that we can move with time and allow things to flow naturally. And if the direction that we need to go, I think it is time that, again, that we resume this discussion. I hope we can speak again over the next couple of weeks or so as we look at just developing our education system. Thank you so very much, Mr. Payne. We're out of time, but I will keep in contact with you, sir. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome, and thanks a lot for having me.
No problem at all. Mr. Payne there, Mr. Anstey Payne, retired technical vocational teacher and also Hummingbird Medal Silver recipient. Really a pleasure having him on the show.